Hi, I'm Alexis. Lately, there's been more growing industry in the market for genetically modified foods, such as corn that's modified genetically to produce cheaper products. Um, a few countries have banned genetically modified foods because they believe it's not safe. It's not they don't want their people eating foods such as Peru recently banned Monsanto and all genetically modified foods from their country. Peru, France, and Russia have also banned genetically modified foods. Today I will show you how genetically modified foods are harmful to society by showing how they do have harmful effects to human health and they have harmful effects to the economy. The medical journal The Lancet published researched rats and they fed rats potatoes, two sets of potatoes. One set of potatoes had the lectin Galanthus nivalis agglutinin, also known as GNA. This is a genetically modified potato, and they fed this to one group of rats. The other group of rats were fed regular organic potatoes. After 10 days, which was the period they decided was necessary to see the effects of the foods, they noticed that the impact that the genetically modified potatoes, affected the rat's intestinal tract. They noticed that the colonic crypt lengths were shorter. The lengths in the genome was slightly greater, not significantly greater, and the mucosal thickness of the stomach had increased in the rats that were fed the genetically modified potatoes. The genetically modified potatoes were proven to create problems in the stomach and the intestines, and these potatoes had 25.4 micrograms of GNA in them. If a person consumes these potatoes over a period of time, they will develop these problems as well. People will need more medical help, more doctors, more medicine, more surgeries because of eating these foods. They shouldn't probably eat these foods because, well, yeah, it's going to create more harm to their system. In India, another magazine, the Genetically Engineering and Biotechnology News, published an article which said that in the UK, shortly after introducing genetically modified soy allergies jumped 50%. So there's already allergies in natural foods, but with genetically modified foods, the allergies can increase. In India, sheeps that were herded and grazed on BT cotton plants exhibited nasal discharge. They had cough and diarrhea. They were really getting sick just from eating modified plants, genetically modified plants. The shepherds also reported that 25% of their herds were dying within 5 to 7 days from eating these plants. These could also be harmful if humans eat the similar plants or foods with similar DNA that's been inserted into the foods. Economically speaking, genetically modified foods will increase the gap in wealth because it's not easy to create a genetically modified seed. It does take work, right? So the scientists want patents on their seeds. If they get patents on their seeds, nobody else can produce it, so farmers are forced to buy the seeds from the producers. They cannot create their own. And most producers are also inserting suicide genes into their seeds. This means that farmers cannot save a portion of their crop as they normally would to reinvest and replant for the next season, because the seeds will only be able to be harvested for one season. They will not be able to afford buying seeds every year. Therefore, the poor farmers will not be able to buy more and more seeds, and that's how genetically modified foods will harm society.
All right, the subject's identified, the proposition is clear, you lay out the secondary points relatively clearly. I thought that you signposted them in the body of the speech pretty well, although it did seem like you jumped onto that first point. The second point was labeled. I think you could have a smoother transition, but it was clear. I think the fact that there's a ban in some countries on those issues indicates that there is controversy on this particular point, so I think that that's okay. You make a reference to Monsanto, which I didn't think ever got clarified later on. That seems to be the group that's primarily responsible for some of the genetically modified foods that you have an objection to. So I think that could be explained a little bit more clearly, and it would help make the argument a little more controversial. The UK information on allergies, that's the only statistical information we got in the speech, and it's really more of an example. The information about the sheep, I don't get a source citation on. I did get a source citation on the study on potatoes, but it seems like you're making a big inference from a single study on rats, and there was some question about whether or not it was statistically significant, so I do think that you need some follow-up on that. The first question that occurred to me was on the potato study. For instance, have any of those potato products that are genetically modified that have the ingredient that you're talking about been released for human consumption, so that we would be able to see whether or not this result has occurred. Otherwise, it seems like it's pretty speculative, and it sounds like there was a screening process. That's what the rat test was like in order to keep it off of the market. If you're saying that it's on the market, then I think you need to give us the factual data that follows that up. The health risks, like I said, are very generic and vague at best. You know, we got this one data, like I said, on soy allergies. That seems like it's particular to a certain kind of genetically modified product, and you need to show, for instance, if that product's been released other places, have we had a similar increase in soy allergies? It sounds like it's just the UK. That's a unique statistic that you've got there, and I think that that's a good statistic to suggest that there is a potential problem there. But if there's not other data that supports it, it seems like it's standing on its own, and that could be potentially problematic. The second issue on the economic consequences of genetically modified foods is an interesting theory, but there's not an explanation. If those are the only seeds that are available for farmers to purchase, then I could see maybe there's a potential risk that you're talking about. But if there are other kinds of seeds that are available, particularly if they can continue to use the seed products that they've currently been using that are not genetically modified and that they're already storing on, why is it that they're forced to purchase these other seed products? I think that needs to be explained a little bit more. There's no evidence evidence that says that the farmers couldn't afford to pay for those seed products, and that they are so restricted that it would be an economic burden on them to be dependent on that one particular type of seeding. I think that especially if there are benefits to those seeds that might make it worthwhile for the farmers to purchase those, that argument is a little underdeveloped here, and it seems like it's pretty speculative at this particular point. All right, thank you.